Part 14. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuladin Chigwa. Chapter 131. Then. The white bone rod reached the top of my head, only 0.01 centimeters away from the Tianling cap of my head. I remember clearly. A dead ghost that I overtook had its brain stem knocked out with a stick and was beaten into a fool. It didn't even have time to react before it was taken away by the ghost flag with overwhelming evil power. There was an opportunity for escape before me, but I was young and arrogant and refused to listen. It wasn't until the white bone rod was only 0.01 centimeters away from me that I regretted it. If you can give me another chance. I must close the castle gate, and then trip over the ghouls who are escaping with me, to buy me time. Rather than pretending to be reserved, he is now facing despair. I regret it. The last words from the butler of the ghost manor. Knock down the white bone stick. The mind of the red-clad fierce ghost wearing a butler's uniform flashed back to his glorious days following his master. Then. He saw Tai Nai waving to him. Boom. There was a loud noise. Shen Jian, who had already made up his mind to pack up and take away all the supernatural things in the ghost manor, now only had two words left in his mind. Restock. Purchase opportunities like this are rare. If any of the evil ghosts escaped, it would be a dereliction of duty on his part. After knocking out the last red-clad ghost, Shen Jian finally breathed a sigh of relief. I feel extremely comfortable. The information on happiness intermediaries is obviously incomplete. The number of ghosts hidden here is at least 5 times more than the statistics, and there are also red-level ghosts stationed there. Even as a 2-star upgrade copy, it is more than enough. He suspected that this ghost manor was once the territory of a ghost king. There are 2 more in that direction. Shen Jian felt it and grinned. The 5 ghost eyes opened at the same time, and disappeared with a burst of red light. 2 players, Zhang Quan and Tong Tong, are walking in the eerie castle. They were scattered. Under Shen Jian's unbridled riot, they did not dare to stay where they were. They could only explore for a safe place and move forward step by step. The further forward, the colder the surroundings become. And I don't know if it was their illusion, but as they drove in this direction, the sky seemed to be getting darker and darker, as if it was shrouded in a layer of black mist, and the moonlight couldn't even penetrate. The situation here is wrong. There are too many evil ghosts, and the intermediaries' information is lacking. Zhang Quan said. It seems to relieve the tense atmosphere. I see, no wonder Xingfu intermediary has been unable to sell this property. There are so many ghosts in this supernatural place. I'm afraid even the red-clothed ghosts will have to leave with their tail between their legs in despair. Tong Tong also muttered. Then. They both thought of something at the same time. There are so many powerful ghosts in this supernatural place that even the red-clad level has to leave with its tail between its legs. Now it is being chased and beaten by Shen Jian, a human being. It is like a father beating his son, easily suppressed. A thought came into their minds at the same time. How strong is Shen Jian? I have read through the known records on the Supernatural Forum, and I have reason to suspect that Brother Leg is already the king of ghosts. Gilug, currently in our country, it seems that only the people in charge of major cities have the supernatural power to control 3 fierce ghosts, but at most they can protect themselves from the attacks of red-clad ghosts, right? Zhang Quanzhuang was solemn and horrified, that's right. As soon as these words came out, the 2 of them looked at each other in confusion. The number 1 supernatural person in the country is right in front of them. This is so unreal. Wait, there are ghosts. At this time. Zhang Quan said in horror. His eyes fell on the flower bed not far away. In the flower bed, there was a ghost figure holding a shovel, bending down, and digging something. Next to him, lying on the ground, was a tied-up female ghost. I can't see clearly, I just know that the skin is a bit white. No, it's super white. He was even paler than he had been dead for 3 days and 3 nights. Ghosts catch ghosts, ghosts bury ghosts. The two gasped. His body tensed up and he subconsciously began to retreat. But soon, their expressions became strange. Because behind this buried ghost, there was an unknown figure at some point, approaching quietly on tiptoes, holding a white bone stick in the hand behind his back. Is it Brother Leg? Although only the back can be seen in the night. They saw at first glance that it was not a ghost, but Shen Jian who was approaching quietly. If I were approached quietly like this at night, I would be scared to death. Tong Tong muttered. Zhang Quan also twitched the corner of his mouth. It's so late at night that he doesn't look like a good person when he approaches someone's back with a sharp weapon. At the same time, Shen Jian has also arrived behind the buried ghost. He saw a male nanny, Li Gui, digging a hole. The hole was not big enough that only one person could fit into it. It seemed that he planned to bury the captured female ghost upside down. Soon, a hole has been dug. The buried ghost moved to the side again and began to dig a second hole. Friend, how do you dig 2 holes to bury a ghost? Shen Jian asked aloud. The other party didn't even look back. That's not right. Wrong. Haha, I obviously want to dig 4 holes. Shen Jian was thoughtful. What the other party meant was obvious. Not only did he find him approaching, but he also noticed 2 players not far away. 4 holes, just enough to bury 4 of them. If your sneak attack was discovered by the other party and used by the other party in turn, if you were an ordinary person, you would have broken out in a cold sweat, or you would be excited, scared, nervous, or run away. But Shen Jian is different. His eyes became very strange. You've already discovered me and still let me get close. Humming retarded. The words fell. Shen Jian raised the morning stick and struck it. Buried ghost. Damn it, sneak attack, come and trick me into a ghost. Boom. With a loud bang, the scene returned to calm. After stuffing the ghost with low IQ into the soul-binding bag, Shen Jian looked at the bound female ghost. Snow white hair, snow white skin, and sky blue pupils. A snow ghost? Shen Jian's eyes were slightly surprised. Although there are a lot of strange species in horror games, ghosts with distinctive characteristics like fairy tales are really rare. But soon, Shen Jian lost interest. Not mature enough. This snow ghost is too green. I guess he is just a high school student. In the group of fierce ghosts, he should only be regarded as a child. After thinking about it, Shen Jian reached out his hand, pinched Shuigui's face and pulled it twice. This little snow ghost's yin qi is not strong, so it has just entered the King II level. Shen Jian let go of his hand only when the other party's sky blue pupils were so wide that they could eat people. What happened to you? Shen Jian said casually. Xiaoxiugui looked at Shen Jian angrily, gritted his teeth and said, I just came here to see my family's former territory, I didn't expect to be discovered. Shen Jian was stunned. If he was not mistaken, the owner here was once a ghost king. You can buy it back. Shen Jian thought of the requirements for the side mission. Solving the troubles of the ghost manor is not enough, it must be sold. Little Snow Ghost muttered, this place has been occupied, and my mother has obtained the right to purchase it immediately, but the evil ghosts here are too fierce, and she is unwilling to move away no matter what. Shen Jian was stunned. His eyes lit up. He thoughtfully helped the little snow ghost untie the rope, and patted the dirt on his back. I'm here to solve this problem. Now that there are no more evil ghosts raging in the ghost manor, you can let your mother handle this property. Really? Little snow ghost's eyes lit up. Shen Jian nodded. His smile also became much kinder. That's all. One person and one ghost finalized the details. Shen Jian watched the little snow ghost leave. I have a special invitation in my hand. Props, Ice and Snow Castle invitation. Introduction, with this prop, you can enter the Ice and Snow Castle instance. Keep the invitations away. Shen Jian left here. Although the harvest this time was not as good as that at the supernatural amusement park, it was an unexpected surprise, and he did not dislike it. Wait until you get home. Scarlet panels began to emerge. Side mission, Ghost Manor Sale, completed. Reward, the favor of the Happiness Agency store manager. Note, the current favorability has increased by 30. Shen Jian's eyes lit up. After 30 points of favorability, starting from the original 49 points, it has reached the ambiguous stage of 79 points. It's only 1 point away from reaching the intimacy stage. At this stage, they already belong to the category of loving couples. Shen Jian was thoughtful. Reaching this point, the main mission. The words have not yet finished. The scarlet panel reappeared. Main mission, repair broken family relationships, completed. It is detected that the player is the first to reach 100 points of goodwill with legally hidden achievements have been unlocked and long-term tasks have been started. You will receive the following permissions. Permission 1, interrupt the copy at any time and enter settlement at any time. Permission 2, the copy task is retained, and the settlement will be based on the participation level at the time of exit. Permission 3, the favorability system is reserved. Whether to enter settlement. Looking at the information displayed on the panel, Shen Jian moved slightly. This mission is different from the past. After completing the main mission, you are not forced to enter the settlement interface. And 4 permissions are unlocked at once. Permissions 1 and 2 are similar to the Feast of the Past copy. Once you reach the level of participation required to complete the task, you can choose to exit at any time. It seems a lot more humane. Gives players the right to make their own choices. If you are worried about safety issues, quit when you meet the minimum standards. If you want to get a higher rating, stay in the copy. Shen Jian was thoughtful. He doesn't care much about other things, but he likes the favorability system. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 132. Finished solving the Ghost Manor issue. Shen Jian returned home. After meal. His wife Suwan had already walked over and whispered, "There seems to be something wrong with my daughter in the past few days. I have never seen her smile, and I didn't tell her what it was when I asked her." Shen Jian was startled. "Look away." The ghost daughter Suling was holding her chin in a daze, not knowing what she was thinking. Shen Jian walked over. "What's wrong?" The ghost daughter said aggrievedly, "Dad, I didn't get first place in the social practice activity, so I don't have a gift for Grandma." Shen Jian looked confused. Couldn't the story of Bao Ma Gui win first place? That was a red-clothed level fierce ghost. Upon hearing this, the ghost daughter felt even more aggrieved. "Dad, they said the story I wrote was false. They don't believe that you can deal with a red-clothed level ghost." So the teacher awarded the first place to Xiao Zi from the same community. Obviously Xiao Zi's story is not as exciting as mine. After listening, Shen Jian nodded. "I understand, it's not that the red-clothed ghost is not up to par, but that he is too ahead of his time. Even though red-clothed ghosts don't seem to be that rare, looking at Nanjiang district, red-coated ghosts are definitely pyramid-like existences. Especially in this area, the status is even higher. Now that they are told that there is a parent who can easily deal with red-clothed evil spirits, it is normal for them to be questioned." Trigger side mission. Side mission, recapture the first place Iron Throne. Introduction, the teacher at Xiangyang Elementary School has insufficient vision and misjudges the performance of the ghost daughter Suling. Please help her regain the first place, win the little red flower, and slapped the teacher hard in the face. Shen Jian. It sounds very hot-blooded. But the result was just to get back a little red flower. Think about it. Shen Jian asked, who is the protagonist of the story about your classmate Xiao Zi? The ghost daughter was confused. It's an ant named the Spirit Conjurer by Xiao Zi. That ant is alone because her husband and son have passed away, but she doesn't believe this and thinks that her husband and son are still with her. Since then, I have become very nagging. I always burn sesame oil, paper money, and whatever I want to do at home, hoping to recall the souls of my husband and son. One day, she succeeded and successfully brought her family back and lived happily together. The ghost daughter told the complete version of what she heard. It sounds like a beautiful fairy tale upon hearing it. It's just the horror world version. If placed in the real world, this would be a proper ghost story. Did you tell me where the address is? I remember Xiao Zi seems to live in the building near that side. The ghost daughter pointed. I don't know if it was her imagination, but her father's eyes seemed to become a little brighter. The ghost daughter shook her head and continued. Dad, Mom said this story is not the complete version. Can we get back my little red flower if we solve the complete story? Shen Jian touched her head. He smiled in a weird tone. Nature. Spiritualists, there are so many interesting ghosts in this scary world. First there was the evil ghost tattoo with the ability to drag souls, and now there is another evil ghost with the ability to summon souls. According to the other party's description, the supernatural power of this evil ghost is to attract different evil ghosts, but the evil ghosts it attracts do not seem to be under my control. This is so weird and interesting. Just imagine, he stands by and the ghost summons different ghosts 24 hours a day and night, and then he beats the sap. Wonderful. Shen Jian gradually became excited. This copy of Sweet Home has too many strange and weird ghosts, including many red-level ghosts, and even supernatural beings that can summon spirits. Very good. He is determined. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 133. Soon. According to the clues left by the ghost daughter, Shen Jian has arrived at the floor where the spiritualist is. In the aisle, the smell of sesame oil and paper money was very strong. There were 2 bowls of rice placed at the door, with 2 chopsticks stuck straight on them, like making an offering. There was also a faint voice of a woman nagging from inside the door. Come back quickly. Shen Jian thought for a while, then stepped forward and knocked on the door. The sound inside the door suddenly stopped. After a while, the door opened, and a middle-aged woman stood there, shouting with a dazed look in her eyes. In addition, there was a faint sight of a pile of unburned paper money. Who are you? The spiritualist wondered. It's like this. I heard that you are here to summon spirits. Today happens to be my 7th day. What do you think of me? The spiritualist? I'm humming spiritualizing, not recruiting. And Shen Jian waved his hand in front of the dull woman. Don't be stunned, weren't you just summoning spirits? Congratulations, you summoned the golden legend and summoned me here. The spiritualist. The woman was a little confused. On the one hand, she was indeed summoning souls just now, but every time she summoned souls, she could only vaguely feel the existence of souls, but never saw them. Therefore, she can be sure that her husband and son are still here. She believed that as long as she persisted in summoning souls day after day, she would be able to bring back the souls of her family members one day. But this time, she really lived a long time. The evil spirit she summoned actually knocked on the door and asked her very politely if she could do it. This gave the spirit the illusion that he was recruiting. The other party came to apply for a job. A long time. The spiritualist reacted. This fellow creature was playing tricks on her. However, the spirit ghost did not choose to expose it, but said enthusiastically, "Yes, I am the one who summoned you. Come in. Sweet Home has rules, no hands-on. Unless the other party has used supernatural power, then they have the authority to fight back. Or lure the ghost into your residence. Here, even if a member of the same species disappears, no one will notice." The husband who was recalled had a broken soul and couldn't eat without being fed. Now that a similar creature came in that didn't know whether to live or die, her husband could finally have a full meal. She was very enthusiastic. Good. Shen Jian nodded and walked in. And locked the door. The spiritualist. Why did you lock the door? Do you know that my husband is hungry and can't wait to be his food? I've seen people giving away people's heads, but I've never seen people do it so proactively. A dark smile flashed on the spiritualist's face. The chest is turbulent. Inside the house, the light is dim. There was a pile of burned incense ashes and half a bowl of sesame oil. Cotton wool was used as a wick inside, and a faint light was lit. To summon spirits, do you still need to use these? Shen Jian was thoughtful. Pointing to a locked door, he asked, "Madam, I heard that your husband has come back. Why don't you let me meet him? I was also summoned by you. Maybe I even knew you during that time. Where is the husband?" The spiritualist was silent. "He is a little sick." After listening, Shen Jian's eyes brightened even more. "That's great. Oh no, what a pity, but can I go and have a look? I am a professional doctor who is best at diagnosing and treating various difficult and complicated diseases. My best record is that I saved a whole building at once, the evil ghost of the manor." The woman was stunned. How much medical skill does it take to diagnose and treat a manor's evil ghosts at once? Maybe her husband really can be saved. When I thought of this, the woman immediately hugged Shen Jian, and I felt pity and said, "Please doctor, please save my husband." Easy to say. Shen Jian grinned. Crunch. The bedroom door was pushed open. An ordinary middle-aged man was sitting in the corner in despair, covering his head with his hands, as if thinking about something. On the walls of the room, there are all kinds of strange words everywhere, which look like ghost drawings, but they seem to hide certain rules. Seeing her husband's appearance, the woman also became sad. Sobbed, "From the moment I recalled his soul, he became like this. He suffered from very severe amnesia. Even I can't remember it. I suspect this is because the soul I recalled was incomplete." Reason. Shen Jian nodded. No wonder women are still summoning spirits. It turns out to be this reason. It seems to be another castrated version of the conjuring. It's the same as the evil ghost tattoo. After thinking about it, Shen Jian walked over and patted the other party on the shoulder. "I am the doctor who treats you." The amnesiac ghost turned around and glanced. "Where is this?" "Shen Jian. You are at your home now." "Yeah." The amnesiac ghost said in confusion, "I don't remember, and I can't remember anything." Shen Jian shook his head. "In other words, you have no memory of yourself now." The amnesiac ghost nodded numbly. "Yes, I can't remember anything, my mind is blank." As he spoke, the amnesiac ghost buried his head in the corner. "How's it going? Doctor, is there any help?" The spirit ghost said eagerly, as if he had grasped the last straw. "It's a bit complicated. I haven't seen your soul calling supernatural power before. It's difficult to judge the specific situation. I'll learn more about it." Shen Jian frowned. He patted the other party on the shoulder. "Do you really not remember anything? Don't you have any scattered memories in your mind? The reason why it is so troublesome. Naturally, Shen Jian also wanted to know the answer. He wanted to know where the source was. The news that dead ghosts can be reborn by recalling their souls is too shocking. If the spiritual ghost hadn't pulled his crotch on his own, the upper limit of this supernatural power would actually be very large. Especially suitable for controlling evil ghosts. Not only can you perform unlimited soul summoning rituals, but you can also recover all the summoned ghosts. It only takes a period of dormancy for the Ghost King's secrets to emerge. This was also Shen Jian's original thought. Now, the idea is dead. As long as the evil spirit pulls the crotch enough, the supernatural ability will be reduced to a dog. The amnesia ghost in front of me is the best explanation. The amnesiac ghost slowly raised his head, his expression numb. Where is this? Who are you? Shen Jian? No. Are you forgetting this? The memory of a fish is only 7 seconds, right? You just turned around and forgot. I am the doctor who is treating you. You are in your own home. Also, this is the second time I have introduced the situation. Yet, the amnesiac ghost still had that numb look on his face. Why don't I remember? Shen Jian. Seeing that the other party was about to turn around again, Shen Jian stretched out his hand to stop the other party. Don't rush to spit bubbles yet, come here and chat with me for a while. Okay. The amnesiac ghost nodded, and then fell into confusion again. But can I ask first who you are? Shen Jian? As the saying goes. Where there is one, there are two, and there are three. When the other party encountered this situation for the third time, Shen Jian gave up the idea of negotiation. The symptoms of this amnesiac ghost are not caused by triggers, but because his own memory cannot be stored. Once the brain capacity is exceeded, the memory will overflow. In other words, no matter what he does next in this room, the amnesiac ghost will eventually forget it. Think of this. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. There was a bit of anger in his eyes. Then, he directly took out the morning stick. If you can't say it, then do it ruthlessly. He still doesn't believe it. The other party's amnesia will even forget the physical pain. Chapter 130 is solved. You can go and take a look. I thought 131 would be blocked, but I didn't expect it to be 130 that is clear and watery. TT. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 134. He saw Shen Jian taking out a morning stick. Amnesia ghost? Damn it. What the hell do you want to do? Murder in a room? He was a little panicked and a little confused. Stand up directly and prepare to resist. But the next second, the amnesia ghost looked at Shen Jian in a trance, especially when it fell on the stick in his hand, and his voice became much louder. Who are you? What do you want to do? Shen Jian. The corner of his mouth twitched. Very good. Think of this. Shen Jian grinned. Fish has memory, right? I want to see if you only have 7 seconds of memory after cooking. Say it. Shen Jian picked up the morning stick and smashed it. At the beginning, the amnesiac ghost still wanted to resist, but his memory short-circuited from time to time, and he couldn't prevent Shen Jian's stick output. In just a moment, he knocked down the opponent. 5 minutes later, the amnesia ghost's eyes were confused, but he could clearly feel the severe pain coming from his body. It was like being turned over and beaten by dozens of big men. He was stupid. Why is it that when I wake up, I feel more and more tired as I sleep? And there was a man standing in front of him with a weird smile, holding a white bone stick, and was waving at him. Amnesia ghost. Before he could react, I have entered a new round of being beaten. In a trance, he seemed to feel that he had experienced the scene countless times. 10 minutes later, the amnesiac ghosts both woke up again. Seeing Shen Jian pick up the stick again, he instinctively became frightened. A large number of unknown clips flashed in his eyes, which seemed to be proof that he had been beaten. He had an intuition that if he didn't speak out, he would probably be beaten again. It's not surprising that he was beaten to death. Wait, do I know you? Did you just hit me? Hear this. Shen Jian was a little surprised. But the whale stick still fell. Ah! What the hell are you doing? The amnesiac ghost roared. Didn't he already speak? Why did this person hit him? Oh, I'm used to it. Shen Jian said without sincerity. Amnesia ghost. You are so cute. You're addicted to beating me, aren't you? So, have you remembered anything, like how you got here? After hearing Shen Jian's words, his first reaction was to get angry. Brutally kill this man. But after looking at the white bone rod in the opponent's hand and feeling the severe pain in his body, he thought about it and chose to answer the question. I remember that I seemed to be wandering in a city in a daze. I saw countless black shadows fighting, and the sky was shrouded in evil spirits. Then a voice rang in my ears. I followed the voice in a daze, and then I had no memory. Hear this. Shen Jian frowned. Could it be that cities that can fight each other are ghost towns? According to his understanding, only Ghost City can use supernatural powers at will. Amnesia ghost, from a ghost town? This discovery shocked Shen Jian. The souls in the Ghost City can be drawn out by using the method of summoning spirits. This shows that the ghost town is not so supernatural. Otherwise, it would be impossible to escape from the ghost town with the half-hearted skills of the ghost summoner and the level of the amnesia ghost. Shen Jian was thoughtful. He was even more interested in this ghost town. He just didn't know if the spiritual conjurer could continue to summon a few ghosts from the ghost city, so that he could understand the situation inside. Thinking. The amnesiac ghost had unified the previous experience with the spiritualist ghost, and learned that he had been beaten for a total of 10 minutes. During this period, it briefly slept 7 times. Every time I was brutally beaten to wake up. See this. The amnesia ghost looked at Shen Jian as if he were looking at a demon. Wrong. His grandma dropped. Demons know how to first provide what others need, and then collect the price. But this man is a white wolf riding a horse with nothing to show for it. He has a posture of counting the ball if he is beaten to death, and continuing to fight if he is not beaten to death. Scared. Scared. Just thinking about it? Shen Jian has already set his sights. With a dangerous look in his eyes, he said, then think of it, remember to tell me if there are any clues, I will come every day. Also, remember to summon souls for me. The more souls you summon, the better. I will accept them. Say it. Shen Jian turned around and left. The reason for not arresting this family is to ensure the source of the evil ghosts in the future. There are also ghost towns, which are rare clues. He doesn't want to give up. Back home. Suwon. Current status, happy, eager. Favorability, 83, intimate. Looking at his charming wife, Shen Jian was also a little ready to make a move. At this time, Suwon also whispered charmingly, husband, please move back. Hear this. Shen Jian knew that his wife had completely accepted him. There are 17 points of goodwill left, which can be accumulated over time. I am looking forward. Shen Jian also smiled. This made Suwon Jiao angry. The next few days, Shen Jian transforms into a master of time management. This day, a scarlet panel emerged. This round of game has ended. Congratulations to the player for clearing the Sweet Home instance. The copy is being settled. Rating, S. Experience gained, 500%. Note, you have been promoted to level 26. Item obtained, Thriller coin * 4000. Receive special reward, the attention of the wife of the city lord of Nanjiang district. Note, due to the outstanding performance of the player in Sweet Home Community, you have become the second shareholder after the largest shareholder, the wife of the city owner. She is very interested in you and thinks that you can help her plan Nanjiang district at a certain time. She will come and ask for your help. Get special rewards, the favorability system is retained. Note, the player has become the first player to 100% defeat Li Gui, has unlocked hidden achievements, and has activated the favorability system. Real world. Shen Jian opened his eyes. In front of me are messages that are flooding the screen. He already knew about Sweet Home shares and the favorability system in advance. But the second special reward, the attention of the Nanjiang district city lord's wife? Shen Jian was thoughtful. Unexpectedly, the shareholder behind this Sweet Home turned out to be the city lord's wife. Planning Nanjiang district, these 5 words caused his reaction. It was his plan to occupy the Nanjiang district, and then radiate the terrifying world through this place, allowing the underworld to occupy it. But Shen Jian didn't expect that there were people who had the same idea as him. And that person is the wife of the city lord of Nanjiang district. Shen Jian was thoughtful. No matter who that person is, he has decided on Nanjiang district. Let alone Jesus, it would be useless even if the king of hell came. He said it. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 135. Real World Kingshi. This is a city god temple. It was a temple that Shen Jian finally found through Ji Haifei's intelligence network. Although the temple is in ruins, it barely remains intact. And there are still many people worshipping. The city god wishes our children to get good grades in the college entrance examination next year. There was a middle-aged mother kneeling on a futon, holding 3 incense sticks above her head, and chanting continuously. You kids still won't say goodbye. The middle-aged mother frowned and muttered when she saw her child looking around and occasionally playing with her mobile phone. Oh. The high school student responded and bowed politely. Being influenced by his family since childhood, as a young man of the new era, he did not dare to be disrespectful to ghosts and gods and maintained a sense of awe, but only a little. This is the attitude of most people towards these gods and Buddhas all over the sky. Awe, but not awe. Shen Jian looked at it expressionlessly. He came here the day after returning to the real world. He wanted to build the city god's palace. The city god's temple can be rebuilt slowly, but the city god's temple needs to set coordinates first to open a passage between the Yang world and the underworld. Shen Jian's heart moved. The clerical abilities belonging to King Yama began to spread. It is not difficult for him as Yama to build a palace again. It's hard to find a solution to all the injustices in this world. Shen Jian didn't intend to pay attention to these. His only goal is supernatural events. Boom. Along with the spread of the ghostly air, gusts of dark wind blew with the Chenghuang Temple as the center. I was so shocked that when I opened the store in the morning, people who came to pay homage to the city god in the early morning were shouting. They covered their clothes or used their hands to block the oncoming dust and sand. In the eyes of ordinary people, this is just a gust of evil wind. In Shen Jian's eyes, it was clearly a piece of netherworld yang that hung upside down for 9 days and was involved in the city god's temple. In the void, a rippling black portal emerged. That is the entrance to the city god's palace. It is a deeper ghost realm. Not to mention ordinary people, even ghost controllers who control powerful ghosts have no way to enter this space. Shen Jian was very satisfied. He stepped into the city god's hall. A few hours later, he thoroughly improved the facilities of the city god's hall. Sitting on the seat dedicated to the city god, listening to the prayers of pilgrims, a magical method suddenly appeared in my hand. In the void, words began to emerge. Bless my children to get good grades in the college entrance examination. This is the appeal of the middle-aged mother. These demands were compiled into a booklet. Prayer Spectrum. The booklet is condensed, and the title of the book appears on the cover. This is one of the wonders of the city god. Before the city god's hall had no owner, Shenjian was the city god here. Take charge of the public wishes of Qing City, large and small. I have to arrange for someone to help me sort out these prayers and collect possible supernatural events. Shenjian's mind moved, and he thought of the ghost teacher who acted as a supervisor in the 18th level of hell. While thinking, a fearful prayer reached Shenjian. Shenjian looked over. On the futon in the city god's temple, a somewhat mature man with a pale face and trembling body kept sending his deepest prayers to the city god. City god, if you really have a spirit, you must protect me from being targeted by those ghosts. I just picked up a marriage certificate on the road out of curiosity, and ghosts are staring at me, day by day. It's close, today is already the third day, I can feel it, those ghosts are coming tonight. The man confided. It was like opening up a taboo topic. Keep talking about what happened these days. Until the mood calmed down completely, he left timidly. Inside the city god's hall, Shenjian spread out his prayer sheet. A prayer has emerged. Chen Songjiang, address, prayer, live. Come out from the Cheng Huang temple. Chen Songjiang felt that the pressure all over his body had been relieved. In the past, he did not believe in Buddha, gods, or ghosts, and thought that worshipping the city god was just to calm his mind. But he was at the end of his rope. He worshipped all the gods and Buddhas in the sky. Just want peace of mind. 3 days ago, on his way home, he saw an ancient-style marriage certificate, brightly painted in red. Out of curiosity, he picked it up. Only then did he realize that the groom above was actually his name. They got married 3 days later. This scared him badly. But then I just thought it was a coincidence, the name was the same, and I didn't take it seriously. But after returning home, something strange happened. The marriage certificate that he had put back into place actually appeared in his bedroom. From now on, no matter how he burns it, the marriage certificate will be restored. The wedding date above is getting closer and closer. He was being driven crazy. At 7:30, he returned home exhausted. Before the key was turned, the door opened. A woman in an apron opened the door, took a pair of slippers from the side and placed them on the floor. Without saying anything, she turned and entered the kitchen. After being a couple for a long time, unnecessary communication is saved. After changing his shoes and sitting on the sofa, Chen Songjiang said with difficulty, "Honey, you should go back to your hometown to avoid it." There was no sound coming from the kitchen. Just the sound of cooking pots and pans echoing. It was as if she was expressing her meaning through actions. Chen Songjiang was a little moved. What is the meaning of a friend in need? What is the meaning of a husband and wife who are birds of the same forest? He has married a good wife. He had said similar words several times in the past few days, but his wife remained silent, apparently as if she would live and die with him. He took out his cell phone. I looked back at the help post I made a few days ago. An answer that made his hair stand on end. You dare to pick up the marriage certificate on the roadside, which is a big taboo for you. Chen Songjiang quickly typed for help, please give me some advice from an eminent monk. That's a marriage certificate for a girl who hates marrying. There used to be a saying that a woman who cannot get married at the age of 30 will not be reincarnated after death. In order to get married as soon as possible, the married women will spread the marriage certificate widely. As long as whoever writes their name and sends the marriage certificate, whoever you can become the groom. Of course, there is another theory. The married women already have their hearts set on their own and don't want to get married, but they can't resist their parents' wishes. So they came up with a way to kill all the grooms who sent them the marriage certificate. Die, so no one will dare to marry her. Seeing this, Chen Songjiang's expression changed drastically. Because only he knew that it was not a rumor. He really encountered the marriage certificate of the girl who hated marrying. No matter which of the above possibilities it was, he would not be happy to accept it. Is it possible that the bride is a human being who can send such a marriage certificate? And if it is the second theory, then he is not far from death. The date on the marriage certificate is today. Thinking of this, Chen Songjiang turned pale and typed for help, "Master, is there any way to solve it? It's not too late. As long as you don't write your name on it, it doesn't mean you have committed a big taboo. Just put it back where it was." Chen Songjiang. Have you written it? That's okay. Put the marriage certificate in the merit box and let the girl who hates marriage come to the Buddha. The Buddha will make love with her. Chen Songjiang. This is where the post gets progressively outrageous. He put down his phone. At some point, his wife stood behind him and said with a worried look on her face, "Are you okay? I think your face doesn't look right. Do you want to take a rest? Honey, let's go to the temple tomorrow. It's a good time to have a vegetarian meal and talk about food." The more he thought about it, the more frightened Chen Songjiang became. If his wife hadn't been here, he wouldn't have even planned to go home tonight. The more I think about it now, the more hairy I feel. With a feeling of apprehension, I finished my meal and went to bed early. Maybe he was too nervous and couldn't sleep. After a while, he noticed a strange noise coming from the house. It sizzled, a bit like fingernails scratching on a wooden door. It's a bit like grinding your teeth. Gilu Chen Songjiang got up and patted the quilt next to him in shock. "Wife, wake up, did you hear anything? Wife? Wife, old." In the middle of shouting, he suddenly froze on the spot. "I'm single, where did I get a wife?" At this moment, he felt that his blood was running cold. A cold air reached Tianling Gai from the soles of his feet, and waves of aversion to coldness surged into his heart. Because not long ago, he was eating, chatting, and sleeping with a woman. The other woman comforted him and told him not to worry too much and that he would be fine if he had a good sleep. The warm picture seemed strange and permeating at this moment. "Don't worry, Gil. Of course you don't." Chen Songjiang was horrified. "I have been single for more than 30 years and have always lived alone. When did a woman appear in my family? Who is that? Zitsize." In the empty house, the clear sound of scratching at the door kept ringing. Chen Songjiang was surrounded by huge fear. He even forgot to breathe, and a strong sense of suffocation hit him. He. At this time, a series of quiet female laughter sounded. He hurriedly covered himself with the quilt. Huddled inside and shivering. Just hope these ghosts will adhere to quilt principles. At midnight, I will come to take your life. After this sound, all movement outside disappeared and fell into a deathly silence. Chen Songjiang gasped for air, his pupils lost focus, and he was almost frightened. Hate married women. I really hate marrying a girl. And the other party came to take his life. This is the second rumor. At midnight, that's 12 o'clock. He glanced at his phone and swallowed hard. There's still 1 hour. It turns out that there really is a legend about hating married women. At this time, his intestines were filled with regret. Why did he have to pick up the marriage certificate in the first place, and now it has caused disaster? He just had one thought in his mind right now. Run. He opened the bedroom door and wanted to leave this place. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open the door outside. On the door, there were dense claw marks all over. It's over, it's over. He collapsed. He threw the marriage certificate out like crazy. Before he could take a breath, a man's voice came from downstairs. There was a little excitement in his voice. Marriage certificate? Who is so careless as to throw away this thing? Let's take a look at why is the column of the bride's name blank? Who wrote the marriage letter so carelessly? Chen Songjiang, right? Brother, don't worry, I will come to you now to give you warmth, your banquet, I determined to participate. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 136. Chen Songjiang was stunned when he heard the voice coming from downstairs. Yes. There is so much commotion outside, why is there no one in the area? He stuck his head out. Wherever there is a residential building outside, it is clearly a ghost house. Dead silence and darkness. It's like being isolated from the world. Thump. Chen Songjiang collapsed to the ground, feeling unspeakable fear in his heart. Yes, there are people. There was another person downstairs who found the marriage certificate and asked him to call the police. When he thought of this, Chen Songjiang hurriedly stuck his head out again, hoping to get the man who heard the voice downstairs to call the police. You can take a closer look. Is there anyone else downstairs? He was confused. The place where he just threw the marriage certificate was at least a few hundred meters away from a residential building. Even if someone picked up the marriage certificate, they shouldn't disappear so quickly. And the man called out his name accurately and threatened to bring it to him. But how did that man know where he lived? Sudden. Bang bang bang. There was a knock on the door outside. A chill surged into his heart from the soles of his feet, and Chen Songjiang's back was covered in cold sweat. I threw away the marriage certificate, the man shouted something, and within 5 seconds of passing by, he appeared outside my door. Is that person who shouted really a human being? He was panting violently, and the color on his face was gone. He lives on the 16th floor. How could someone arrive from downstairs and knock on the door in less than 5 seconds? Unless not human. At this time, the knocking on the door outside became more intense. It's no longer a knock on the door, but a smash on the door. Brother, open the door, I'm here to bring you something warm. I've seen you. Stop hiding and open the door. I'm not a good person. Boom. 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 There was a strong banging sound on the door, as if someone was smashing it with a fist from outside. Chen Songjiang could even feel that the walls of his house were shaking. Grass. Isn't this a bad guy? If you hit harder, my house will be demolished. Wrong. The other person seemed to say that he was not a good person. Chen Songjiang was dumbfounded. Why did he feel that this ghost who smashed the door was even scarier than the previously hated married woman? Boom. Accompanied by a loud bang. The door that had been unable to be opened before was suddenly smashed open. Heavy footsteps entered the living room. In the darkness, a figure holding a stick came slowly. Chen Songjiang felt like falling into an ice cave. If the previous hateful married woman made him feel supernatural terror, then the man holding a stick in front of him made him feel physical fear. He had an intuition that this man could open his heavenly spirit cap with one stick. He was completely desperate. I don't know what kind of luck I have. You can meet ghosts one after another. Crunch. The bedroom door was pushed open. Haha, brother, you must have dropped this. The voice sounded. Chen Songjiang looked up and saw a handsome young man with a blood-stained hemp rope tied to his wrist, carrying a baton and placing the marriage document on the table. He showed a kind smile. It was Shen Jian who came. As the first supernatural prayer he encountered after opening the city god's hall, this one named Chen Songjiang was very lucky. He unexpectedly encountered a powerful ghost with a ghost realm. This kind of ghost is very rare. The terror level is at least Xingyi level. In the entire Qing city, there are very few people who can deal with this level of evil spirits. It was his luck that the other party could go to the city god's temple to pray secretly. Of course, it was also Shen Jian's luck. Hear this. Chen Songjiang froze on the spot. People. Is this guy opposite a human? When he thought of this, his vigilance suddenly dropped, and he fell to the ground as if he had collapsed. Even if he were beaten to death, he would not have thought that the old man who knocked on the door was actually a human being, and he actually brought the marriage certificate back with him. Etc. Marriage certificate. Chen Songjiang's relaxed mind became tense again. He said in a panic, "Brother, this thing is very evil. No matter how I burn it, cut it, or throw it away, it will eventually come back to me, and a ghost said that it will come to take my life at 12 o'clock tonight. Brother, if you have a way, just burn this thing, otherwise the married woman will come tonight." Shen Jian was thoughtful. I thought it was a post for choosing a son-in-law like the ghost bride, but I didn't expect it to be a life-threatening post that would kill any human being who received the marriage certificate. A ghost painting, and now a marriage certificate. There are more and more supernatural incidents in Qing City. This is enough to prove that the invasion of horror games has entered a new stage. The supernatural revives and the strange comes. The Yang world is about to be in chaos. With this thought, Shen Jian wondered, why burn it? What a waste. Chen Songjiang? Is it now a matter of waste or not? Brother, we are going to die soon. He was in his 30s and was so anxious that he almost cried. Shen Jian was unmoved. He just came to catch ghosts, burn the medium, and hated the married woman for showing up here. That's all. It's 12 midnight. It's midnight, I'm here to take your life. A quiet voice sounded in the house. Next moment, Chen Songjiang saw a female ghost with a red hijab suddenly appear outside the door. The married woman looked inside. Suddenly he was stunned. In addition to the groom with the marriage certificate, there was also a young man in the room. He was looking at her with interest. Daughter who hates marrying? Has a problem. She was confused. This place is within the scope of her ghost realm, and there shouldn't be any living people besides her. She looked again. It was a very handsome man, even more handsome than the man she loved in life, and he was holding a baton in his hand. Security guard? He who hates married women feels contempt in his heart. Then I became confident. She is just a security guard, but she is a ghost. Within the scope of the ghost realm, she is the master. Think of this. The married girl laughed. There was a hint of contempt under the face covered by the red hijab. The other side. Shen Jian looked up and down at this special ghost with a ghost domain. The wedding dress was like blood, making her skin color look even paler. Under the red hijab, his eyes glowed with hazy blood. 10 sharp claws as black as ink jade sprouted from the fingertips. At this moment, a strange smile appeared on the corner of the girl's mouth. Husband, it's time to hit the road. The voice was sad and plaintive, making people shudder. Chen Songjiang was breathing rapidly. I just felt a sense of despair envelope my heart. His eyes looked towards Shen Jian. Shen Jian is missing. Take another look. He had already arrived at the married woman's side, grabbed her hand and ran outside. Let's go, I'll take you to elope. Chen Songjiang? Brother, do you want to listen to what you are saying? Daughter who hates marrying? Elopement. This human wants to elope with me? It sounds exciting. But she quickly reacted and pulled Shen Jian's hand away. He said coldly, Human, don't hinder me, otherwise I will send you the next marriage letter. Shen Jian stopped. He looked at the baton in his hand. Silently replaced with a mourning stick. His eyes threatened, don't leave. Do you also want to eat my millions of tons of deoxyribose? Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 137. There was some confusion in the eyes of the married girl. This human seemed to be talking about something novel. But soon, she came back to her senses, thinking about what Shen Jian had just said. Her expression turned cold. Human, are you threatening me? Shen Jian said strangely, no, I'm warning you. Daughter who hates marrying? This is the first time I have met such a tough human being. It's really rare. She really became interested in the tough man in front of her. But she didn't like the other person's tone. She decided to teach this little man a lesson. Let this human understand that she is the master here. Then, the married woman who hated the marriage stretched out her jade hand as dark as ink. And Shen Jian also took out a thick mourning stick. He looked at her with a threatening expression. I'll let you taste the power of the iron rod if you push me harder. Daughter who hates marrying. She took back what she had just said. This little man does have 2 brushes. But it doesn't matter. Here's her ghost land coverage. In the ghost realm, all objects will be twisted according to her will. For example, she could replace the mourning stick in Shen Jian's hand with something else on his body. I have to say that this human seems to have a lot of things with him. I don't know how to install it. No trace can be seen at all. Just thinking about it. The married girl who hated her activated her supernatural power. The mourning stick in Shen Jian's hand changed. It turned into a mace full of iron nails, with traces of blood remaining on it. It turns out you like this tune. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Daughter who hates marrying. It's not right. What is this human doing with a mace at all times? Change it again. The mace turned into a ghost sickle full of yin energy. I hate married women and do not believe in evil. Continuously use the ability of the ghost domain to replace the items in Shen Jian's hand. From the ghost sickle to the blood-stained chainsaw, and then to the soul-catching chain, Rakshasa gun, and soul-summoning flag. Finally settled on the baton. Tired? Destroy it? The girl who hated marrying looked pale. This human being is a demon, otherwise why would he carry so many dangerous weapons with him? She is ready to leave here. Human, I will come back. The married woman who hated the marriage glanced at Chen Songjiang, then glared at Shen Jian full of resentment, and then her body flashed, and the whole ghost appeared in the same place again. Daughter who hates marrying? What happened? I've obviously used the ghost realm, why didn't I leave? Shen Jian grinned, I want to leave now, it's too late. Outside. Chen Songjiang trembled for a long time after hearing this voice. Sure enough, his guess was correct. That old man is much scarier than hating a married woman. He had seen many living bodhisattvas, but this was his first time seeing the living king of hell. Crunch. Soon. The door opened. Shen Jian was in a good mood and greeted kindly, your request has been resolved. You can wait here, go downstairs, or go to the nearby Daxia branch. Someone should be here soon. You understand the situation and you can figure it out yourself. Also, don't be afraid, I'm not a good person. Finished. Shen Jian turned and left. He had already said that he was only responsible for managing the city gods hall before it was officially put into operation, and also to exterminate the ghosts near Qing City. We are not responsible for the psychological problems of pilgrims. That is Daxia official matter. The door closes. Only Chen Songjiang and a marriage letter were left in the room. He was breathing heavily. He looked like he had been reborn. In his mind, he recalled what Shen Jian had just said. If a supernatural event occurs, the authorities will naturally come to him. But the key is Shen Jian's last sentence. It's up to you. What does it mean? Are you warning him not to tell anyone about this incident? Chen Songjiang shivered when he thought of the various dangerous items that Shen Jian carried with him and the last screams of the married woman. Terrible. Exited the residential building. A dilapidated ghost taxi has parked at the door. Shen Jian sat up. After thinking about it, I made a call. Mr. Shen, what can you do? Jian Quan said cautiously. Have there been more supernatural incidents recently? That's right, when the thriller game first invaded, there wasn't necessarily a single supernatural event happening for more than half a month. But since half a month ago, the number of supernatural events has been increasing day by day. Today, it happens every 3 to 5. Shen Jian was thoughtful. In the 10 days he has been in the horror world, the world has changed a lot. If this trend continues, Yangshi will become a ghost town in another sense in less than a year. The speed is faster. Shen Jian frowned. I understand that I have to speed up my pace. Well. At this moment, the ghost driver suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Shen Jian looked over. There was a car accident on the roadside ahead. Several cars collided with each other, and their bodies were smashed to pieces, not to mention the people inside. How come there are continuous car accidents in this place? Shen Jian was startled. Because there is a sharp turn ahead, with a mountain on the inside and a cliff on the outside. It is indeed a place where accidents often occur, but the problem is that so many cars are involved in an accident together. There seem to be 5 or 6 of them. Anyone who sees this scene, as long as they are not stupid, knows to slow down, right? And so it is. After seeing this scene, the ghost driver began to slow down slowly. No matter how hard you try, you won't hit him. At this time, doo-doo. 2 piercing horns suddenly sounded from the left side, the volume was frighteningly loud, and at some point, a strange sports car appeared on the left side, driving towards them without giving up. The ghost driver was startled, stepped on the accelerator, and was crushed to death. Ghost driver? Master Ghost, I can't control my speed. He panicked. At this speed, he would have to hit it later. It's okay to say that the ghost rental is scrapped, but if it disturbs the ghosts and gods, then even 10,000 lives will not be enough for him. Seeing that ghost taxi is about to follow in the footsteps of its predecessors, Shen Jian grabbed the ghost driver by the back of his neck and threw him into the back seat. He held down the steering wheel with one hand and stepped on the accelerator with one hand. The corners of his mouth were raised slightly and his voice was calm and calm. Have you ever heard of a bend in a drainage ditch? Ghost driver? Do you also want to go over the ditch with people and the car? Shen Jian stared ahead, waiting for an opportunity. Then, the steering wheel is turned to death and the accelerator is pressed to the bottom. The ghost rental erupted into a beast-like roar. The ghost driver's eyes widened even more. His face was full of surprise. Has hope. In this way, there is indeed a chance to overtake the weird sports car on the left at absolute speed while the accelerator is pressed to the bottom, before the weird sports car on the left reaches the front. Between the sports car on the left and the scrap car, use a tricky way. The angle passes through. But this requires great courage, calm judgment, and skills comparable to those of a car god. Even though he has been driving rentals for 18 years, he still can't figure out this operation. The ghosts and gods are all-knowing and all-powerful. The ghost driver looked forward to it. Witness miracles happening. Next moment, ghost taxi's head turned sharply. Then with a boom, it hit the strange sports car on the left. This. Amid the violent impact, the ghost driver couldn't help but open his mouth in shock. This is different from what he imagined. Where is the bend in the drainage channel that was promised? Shouldn't it be a miraculous avoidance and a miraculous drift? This hit me directly. And it's not over yet. I saw the corners of Shen Jian's mouth rising more and more, and he stepped on the accelerator, pushing the sports car hard against the guardrail on the side. Ghost driver. As long as Lord Ghost is happy. Scrap it, scrap it. Opposite. The weird sports car seemed a little confused. After reacting, it turned the steering wheel and stepped on the accelerator. Then it came to a thrilling stop before reaching the edge of the cliff. Shen Jian felt a little regretful. After all, the performance of Ghost Rental is insufficient. If this were the one he gave to his ghost mother-in-law, this sports car would have flown away long ago. The driver looked at him in shock. Shen Jian said calmly, "My hand was raw, but luckily nothing happened." Ghost driver. I'm afraid this is no ordinary craftsman. When others drive, they are driving, but when you drive, you are playing fast and furious. He felt that if the owner of the car died in today's accident, then Master Gishan would have to be convicted of intentional homicide. Of course, if the opponent is really a human. At this time, Shen Jian opened the car door. Yu Yu said, "Don't worry, the other side crashed our car like this. He lost everything but his pants." The ghost driver looked at the other side with pity. "Poor baby. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace." Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 138. Car accident scene. A young man who looked to be in his 20s with a livid face got out of the strange sports car, slammed the car door, turned his head and pointed at Shen Jian, ready to curse. "What the hell? Do you humming know how to drive? You were hit by me, what happened to my car?" Shen Jian said with an angry look on his face, a menacing attitude, and his voice was even louder than the owner of the sports car. The car accident ghost was stunned. Although he activated the supernatural power first to accelerate the opponent's car and sounded the horn to provoke him, if the opponent did not choose to turn around the drainage ditch, he would have hit the pile of scrapped cars instead of colliding with him. If the other party changes lanes to overtake, if the liability is determined, it will definitely be full responsibility. But why did he feel that the other party's tone was so aggressive? This gave the car accident ghost an illusion. "I seem to have made a mistake." After taking a second look and confirming that the responsible party was indeed not him, the car accident ghost said with a stern face, "If I read it correctly, your skills were not up to par, and you forced the tail to drift like a drift, which led to the rear-end collision, and it was you who rear-ended me. Right?" "Yes," Shen Jian said confidently, "but you won't predict my drifting behavior and avoid it in advance. How did you get this driver's license? You just stuffed the money." Car accident ghost? "Who among us stuffed the money, don't you know? Just your way of bending the drainage channel will make even the dogs laugh at you. And avoid it in advance? Are you really humming good at talking? You bumped into me and you blame me for not avoiding it in advance. This language art is simply amazing. The more I think about it, the face of the ghost in the car accident becomes even uglier." And Shen Jian continued, "Think about it, if you could speed up while I was drifting, would this accident not have happened? Brother, I'm not talking about you. Your reaction speed would make a dog shake its head. What is the most important thing about driving? Keep an eye on all directions and an ear on all directions. Pay more attention in the future." Shen Jian spoke with a serious tone. Car accident ghost. What the hell? He wanted to retort, but for a moment he didn't know what to say. "My back molars are almost broken, and I can't think of a word to argue." The words became a little weak at this moment. The main reason is that car accident ghosts find that when the other party is not prepared to reason with you, it is almost impossible to gain the right to speak through argument. Okay, let's put this aside for a while and wait for others to come and judge. The car accident ghost gritted his teeth and said, "You want to tell me why you stepped on the accelerator and pushed me over the cliff? Did you want to commit murder?" Shen Jian paused, raised his eyebrows and said, "Look, my reaction was relatively slow and I didn't have time to let go. It's completely understandable. Hear this. The car accident ghost stared at Shen Jian fiercely. When you took my word for it just now, your reaction was not slow. What's more, the response is slow, and you can step on the accelerator for 30 seconds without letting go. What a liar. The car accident ghost was so angry that his facial muscles trembled, and some black corpse spots appeared on his originally normal skin. A face has completely become gloomy. Then tell me, how should we resolve this matter? The car accident ghost said coldly. From his body, the king II level yin qi has drifted out. The whole face has turned into the look of a car accident scene, miserable and full of potholes. The head was severely injured and was directly dented. Shen Jian didn't seem to notice anything unusual. He said to himself, well, I'm being reasonable. You will compensate me for this car, and you will pay me as much as you have in thriller coins, and everyone will go his own way. Ghost rental inside. The ghost driver was stunned. I hit someone else's car and I want them to give me some money. This person is so sophisticated and can be so well controlled. When Bao Longxing sees you, he has to call you patriarch. After listening, the car accident ghost also looked dumbfounded. You want me to compensate you? Okay, I'll compensate you, but the price is your life. The car accident ghost smiled strangely, and his face completely turned into a bloody mess. Senluo's ghost claw dug into Shen Jian's heart. He wants to rip out this human being's heart, liver, and kidneys as compensation for repairing his car. Oh, yes, he also wants to tear this mouth to pieces. Boom. A baton struck straight down. One of the ghost hands extended by the car accident ghost was directly broken, and the arm bones were twisted. Ah! The car accident ghost screamed. The intact one was also caught. But as soon as he emerged, he was interrupted by Shen Jian. The successive pains drove him crazy and he couldn't stop wailing. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. He looked at the calf of the car accident ghost again, and without saying a word, he swung it with a stick. Click. The crisp sound made the ghost driver's scalp tingle. Awful. It's too awful. He never thought that one day he would use the word miserable to describe his kind. But judging from the current situation, there is no other adjective for this without the word miserable. At this time, the car accident ghost has completely lost the loyalty and spirit he had at the beginning. All his arms and legs were broken. Hanging, the astonishing yin qi that enveloped the body was literally beaten away and disappeared, revealing a body covered in injuries. It looked miserable, and the face was full of traces of being tortured. His eyes were different from before. If the eyes of the car accident ghost before were disobedient and ferocious, that now, the ghost driver could feel that there was even a pleading state in the other person's eyes. It was the look in his eyes that he hoped someone could get over. The ghost driver shivered. With the vast power of the ghost and God, he could crush the opponent with one hand, but he used a novel method to make the ghost generate more yin energy. The more yin energy is squeezed out, the more excited Lord Ghost body seems to be. He also played more vigorously. How miserable. It's not good to offend anyone. He has to choose one ghost and God, and he also pointed out the mistake of the ghost and God. This is not lighting a lamp in the toilet and seeking death. When he thought of this, the ghost driver was excited. Great, holy, and noble Lord of ghosts and gods, your coachman has no intention of insulting you. Bring the screen back. Shen Jian stepped on the face of the car accident ghost. You just didn't want to lose money. I apologize. The car accident ghost spoke weakly. Ding, the car accident ghost has given away 7,000 thriller coins. Ding, the car accident ghost has given you the sports car as a gift. See here. Shen Jian curled his lips and said, how could it be better to do this earlier? You have to give me a beating. How mean. Go in, playing with cars is too dangerous for you, go to the black mining area and be a glorious miner. said. Shen Jian threw the sack out. Car accident ghost. As the saying goes, you can kill with just a nod of the head. Human, are you going too far? Not only do you want to eat me up, but you also plan to make me work for you for the rest of my life. How can there be such a good thing in the world? But he glanced at the baton in Shen Jian's hand. The car accident ghost still got into the sack in humiliation. Good ghosts don't mess with evil people. Do it all. Shen Jian drove the sports car out. This is also a hearse and has the same nature as a ghost rental. However, compared to the ghost taxi, the performance of the ghost sports car is undoubtedly better. This can be seen from the fact that he couldn't knock the sports car away even when he stepped on the accelerator. You can drive this from now on, Shen Jian said casually. Return to the city god's hall. Shen Jian flipped through the prayer sheet in his hand. Below, the ghost teacher sat on the side couch, sorting out these folk prayers. Responsible for compiling a book, selecting possible supernatural events, and then handing it over to Shen Jian for judgment. Shen Jian discovered a special situation. In a deserted village, an old man claimed to have seen an illusory panel with the words thriller game written on it, along with words such as copies and tasks. And this is not an isolated case, but everyone in the deserted village has seen this reminder. But once you leave the village, this situation disappears. It makes people panic. Shen Jian frowned. This is clearly a sign of being selected as a player. But the problem is, it's not just one or two people who are chosen, but the whole village. And once you leave the village, you can no longer see the panel. Shen Jian thought of a possibility. Real-world gamification. The so-called deserted village has turned into a supernatural copy. In the instance, everyone is a player. Think of this. Shen Jian's face became serious. Transforming the Yangshi world into a copy of a supernatural game shows that the invasion of horror games has entered a new stage. If this trend develops, Yangshi will soon fall and turn into supernatural copies born out of horror games. At that time, it's not far away from the Yangshi being completely occupied. You little bitch, let's see who of us can steal the house faster. Shen Jian was solemn. Tier open a copy clearance coupon. Countdown, 00:00. Welcome players back to the thriller game. It is detected that the player has a hidden mission, whether to enter the Blood Moon High School copy. A line of scarlet prompts appears. Shen Jian was startled. Has Blood Moon High School been repaired? He remembered that he took the time to go to the high school of Blood Moon High School and took away the 7 ghost stories on campus one by one, which led to the collapse of the copy of Blood Moon High School. Now it seems that it has been renovated. As for the hidden mission, he remembered that the ghost principal valued him and wanted to promote him to become the dean of students. Yes. Shen Jian nodded. The player's wishes have been detected and the copy has been fixed. The special growth copy has been opened, players please pay attention. A sufficient number of players have been detected. Loading. You have completed the match. Copy, Blood Moon High School. Content, as a key university in Nanjiang District, Blood Moon High School has always been the best choice for millions of parents. However, the high tuition fees have created a large number of ghost boys, who are difficult to manage. Number of players, 6 people. Main mission, survive for 7 days and find out the real taboo in this school. Side mission. Friendly reminder, follow school rules. Difficulty, 3 stars. The notes accompanying the system introduction disappeared from sight. Open your eyes again. The scene in front of him suddenly became clear, with the school standing quietly in front of him. Shen Jian didn't have time to observe. Another row of panels appeared. It has been detected that the player has started a hidden mission in Blood Moon High School. Hidden mission has been opened. Hidden task, show your ability to manage the school. Introduction. As the highest position under the principal and deputy principal, the dean has the first-hand responsibility to manage the school. Please show your leadership skills. Task requirement: improve the school teaching environment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 139. With the scarlet panel disappearing completely. Only then did Shen Jian have time to observe the surrounding environment. He appeared at the gate of Blood Moon High School. On campus. Ghosts come and go. It's like I just went through a parent-teacher conference. Many evil ghosts were carried away by their parents. There was constant noise. On the side, 5 players have arrived. You can enter the Samsung dungeon. I guess you don't need anyone to remind you. I'll make a long story short. At this time, a young man wearing casual clothes spoke. Shen Jian glanced over. The opponent's ID is Qin Ziyi and his level is 23. I am the deployment specialist of IWA City Daxia Lonke, responsible for the security of IWA City. I have no conflict of interest with you, and I have most of the information on the Blood Moon High School copy and can share it. I hope everyone can get through the difficulties together. As soon as these words came out, everyone was surprised. Commissioner Daxia Lonke is also responsible for maintaining law and order in the city. This status is not low. If they remember correctly, if you want to become a commissioner of a city, you must control a ghost that can be revived from ghosts for a long time, or a ghost master who can control 2 or more ghosts can be elected. And examine the psychological quality of players every once in a while. Make sure it doesn't get out of control. Such a player is indeed worthy of trust. There was a moment of silence. A gloomy man with the ID LAN holding 2 daggers spoke first. I can contribute a piece of information. Blood Moon High School was closed for a period of time, during which many supernatural copies were destroyed. Information from past supernatural forums can no longer be used as a reference. This will be a brand new copy of Blood Moon High School. I've heard about this too. According to rumors, it's said to be the 8th ghost on campus. They specifically choose to attack at night. If it's not necessary, don't go out at night for the next 7 days. A girl wearing purple sportswear also spoke up. Her ID is Dream Girl. Shen Jian. Listening to these discussions, he felt strange. Also participated. The 8th ghost story on campus will no longer appear. As far as I know, he was a copy of Blood Moon High School by mistake. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Shen Jian. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This information is of great value. I just don't know where it came from. If the intelligence is true, then they will have one less threat when they enter Blood Moon High School. The probability of survival at night will be greatly improved. Before the game has started, players are exchanging information. Among them, Yanchinj Commissioner Qin Ziyi provided the most. He is a member of the official organization of Daxia Dragonbird and the commissioner of a city. His status is higher than everyone present. In the city responsible for public security, he even has immunity from murder. The status is second only to the officials in the region and the city leaders. The information he provided was of great value. Among them, the 3 laws are the most important. Rule 1, don't mention a name. Rule 2, don't go to the top floor of any building. Rule 3, do not violate any school or class rules. This is the information compiled by the Daxia Lonke official, which indicates the greatest danger of this supernatural copy. Behind these 3 laws is the experience accumulated by countless players. No one dares to underestimate him. Remember the requirements of the main mission. Survive for 7 days and find out the real taboo behind this school. I suspect that this taboo refers to what happened in Law 1. Chen Ziyi continued, according to official internal information, there are countless strange legends circulating in Blood Moon High School, but there is only one thing that is forbidden to talk about, and that is the taboo of having your name erased. No one knows what this taboo ghost story is, and no one has seen the true face of this ghost story. They only know that it is an 8th ghost story that has never existed besides the 7 ghost stories on campus. Hey, the 8th strange story? Does it refer to the sinister story? The girl player asked. No, the so-called underworld should indeed be just a powerful ghost that invaded the dungeon, rather than a ghost story that exists in itself. The taboo ghost story is still unknown. Speaking of which, everyone looked serious. Their mission is to find out the taboo behind this school. And it is too difficult to find out a strange creature whose existence is not even known. It is more difficult than any Samsung copy. After all, finding out is not the end, but the beginning of death. Shen Jian listened and remained silent. Rather than looking for the taboo, he would rather let the taboo come to him. Perhaps it would be inefficient to simply learn what the taboo event is from this school instead of going to all the trouble to investigate. At this time, a scarlet panel emerged. Task tips: go to the vice principal's office to report. Note: dress appropriately. The game begins. Everyone was shocked. Follow the panel prompts and arrive at the school gate. A woman in a suit and uniform was standing at the gate of the campus holding a ruler. All the evil ghosts passing by would honestly shout, "Hello, Vice Principal." In addition, there is also a recruitment notice posted on the billboard next to her. The teaching staff of our school is tight and we are in urgent need of outstanding talents. We are currently short of 5 male teachers and 10 female teachers. Please bring your resume to discuss in detail. Seeing this message, Shen Jian's eyes lit up. He also has a gold medal teacher status prop from the ghost teacher. With this item, you can become a star teacher. Compared with the unknown identity arranged in the copy itself, the position of teacher is obviously more free. If you want to rectify the school's teaching environment and complete hidden tasks, your identity as a teacher can also be a help. While thinking, 6 players have arrived in front of the vice principal. You are exchange students from other schools. You will study at Blood Moon High School for 7 days. During this period, I hope you will abide by the school rules and disciplines and do not bring bad habits here. In my case, even if you are exchange students must also be treated equally. The vice principal pushed up his glasses and waved the ruler up and down like a queen. All players dare not breathe. His face no longer had the calmness it had previously held. As they got closer, they discovered that the vice principal was actually a red-clad ghost. That ruler is also a very powerful supernatural prop. If you are drawn, you may lose a layer of your skin. Even Qin Zi, the commissioner of Yanqing, was sweating coldly in front of such a terrifying ghost. There are red-clad ghosts in the Samsung dungeon, but Samsung players rarely come into contact with ghosts of this level. Even if they do, they only exist as the final boss. When entering a dungeon like this and encountering a boss-level existence for the first time, the player's heart naturally trembles. Under the power of this red-clothed level ghost, he couldn't help but lower his head. Seeing this scene, the vice principal couldn't help but frown, and his voice became much colder. Your classrooms have been assigned. Someone will take you there later, so go in. After receiving permission, the player immediately escapes. She is a red-clad fierce ghost and a vice principal. The aura of this female ghost is so strong that I dare not look directly at her. He was afraid that the next second he stared at her face, he would be beaten to death by the ruler in her hand. You are an exchange student too, right? Why are you still standing here? Do you need my punishment? The vice principal said coldly. Shen Jian glanced over. Ghost Vice Principal by Zaishu. Level, Red level. Introduction, she holds the positions of Vice Principal and Dean at the same time. Her aura makes all the teachers and students in the school dare not look directly at her, but what is not known is that she is a special XP enthusiast who enjoys being looked upon as a woman. The pleasure brought by sex is irresistible to the handsome man's gaze. Current status, arrogant, confident, slightly distressed. Favorability, 5, first acquaintance. There was a strange flash in Shen Jian's eyes. Special XP enthusiast. He has a high position but enjoys the prying eyes of men. But because of his status, ordinary people dare not look directly at him, and they are troubled by this. Shen Jian clicked his tongue. Look again. He looked at the vice principal. The slim-fitting ecclesiastical suit worn on her body was stretched tight by her explosive figure. With a gorgeous appearance and paired with silver-framed round-rimmed glasses, she is full of intelligence and adds a bit of professional temptation. You, what are you looking at? The vice principal was stared at by Shen Jian, a handsome man, and felt a little strange in his heart, but his face became more and more stern, and he waved the ruler in his hand up and down, with the intention of pulling it out directly. But in Shen Jian's eyes. Favorability, add 5, 10 first acquaintance. Shen Jian. Shen Jian took out the star classroom props. Hello principal, I'm here to apply for a teacher position. Star teacher, vice principal Gui was stunned. Staring at Shen Jian's young face, he felt a little more strange inside. She had no resistance to the handsome man's gaze, but now he had an additional identity of a star teacher, and he was so young. Being stared at by such a high-quality man made her whole body tremble. Favorability, add 10, first acquaintance in 20 years. I understand. Come to the office with me and I'll tell you what you need to pay attention to. Then you can officially start your job today. Finished. Twisting the waist to clear the way in front, the convex and convex figure that attracts endless reverie sways from side to side, especially when going up the stairs. It looks even more majestic. Shen Jian thought for a while and deliberately fell a few steps behind. This way you can look directly when you go up the stairs. The ghost vice principal also obviously noticed Shen Jian's behavior. Where Shen Jian couldn't see it, the corners of her mouth slightly raised, revealing a seductive arc. The two of them went all the way to the vice principal's office. Lock the door. Shen Jian's mouth twitched, but he still asked, Principal, we don't need to close the door to talk. The ghost vice principal said with a nonchalant look on his face, Oh, I'm afraid someone will affect our conversation. You won't mind, right? Shen Jian shook his head. By the way, have you ever felt that the room seems a little hot? Is a bit. Right, I feel a little stuffy too. Under Shen Jian's gaze, the ghost vice principal slowly put his hand on the collar button of his white shirt. 1 button, 2, 3 buttons, unbutton. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Buletin Chigua. Chapter 140. To be honest, this step was something Shen Jian didn't expect. After all, his affinity with this ghost vice principal was only 20 points. Basically, he is the kind of stranger who has met once or twice. But if a special XP is added, then Shen Jian will understand. He glanced away. After undoing the third button, revealing a patch of white, the ghost vice principal stopped. He looked at Shen Jian with a squinted smile, enjoying the hot gaze. As the vice principal and part-time dean of students at Blood Moon High School, she had not been stared at like this for a long time. Especially after unbuttoning her buttons and revealing a vague visual sense, her body trembled. But on the surface, he still pretended to be nonchalant. Teacher Shen, you are a star teacher. Logically speaking, I should hand over the class with the best grades to you, but now is a critical time after all. Changing teachers rashly may cause unnecessary impact. I hope you can understand this. Shen Jian nodded. The ghost vice principal continued, in this case, you can report to the elite class. There happens to be a shortage of a class teacher there. The students' grades are generally good, so you don't need to worry about it. It's just right for you to use as a buffer. Leave it to me, thank you principal. Shen Jian's lips curled up. The hidden task is to improve the teaching environment, which presumably does not refer to just one class. Rather, it covers the entire campus. This gave him ample incentive to stock up. I'm not the principal yet, and this title is too formal for me. I don't like it. The ghost vice principal inadvertently pulled up a piece of his collar, revealing half of his spring glory, and winked at Shen Jian. Favorability, add 10, 30 friendly. Shen Jian was slightly surprised. He didn't say a few words in total. It's too easy to win the favor of this ghost vice principal. Just being in the same room with her and watching her talk will make her feel better. This allowed Shen Jian to see the possibility of a strategy. His mission in Sweet Home Community is to capture 10 ghosts with 100 points of favorability. He doesn't know if capturing ghosts in other places counts. Shen Jian was thoughtful. And by. The ghost vice principal was stunned. She planned to let Shen Jian call her sister, but for some reason, Aunt Bai was also a good name. And no one seemed to have called her that. Shout again. Aunt Bai. Shen Jian said with fiery eyes. The ghost vice principal was very helpful. He said happily, don't say that your Aunt Bai doesn't take care of you. Let me reveal some more information to you. This is the roll call for the elite class. There is a ghost in it that you should pay attention to. Before the ghost vice principal handed over the roll call, Shen Jian had already approached Aunt Bai and looked sideways at the roll call. At this time, the distance between the two was a bit close. The corners of the ghost vice principal's mouth curved even wider. Pointing to the name of one of the ghosts, he said, although the elite class is not the key class of Suiyu High School, it is also the experimental class second only to the key class. The fierce ghosts in it are either rich or noble, and they all have certain backgrounds behind them. You are as a class teacher, as long as you assist the class leader, you can manage this class well. The monitor is a snow girl who attaches great importance to learning and hates things that disturb the class. Remember to try not to offend her during class. Hear this. Shen Jian was stunned. Snow girl? He had encountered one not long ago. Unexpectedly, I heard about another one in Blood Moon High School. Moreover, the other person seemed to be a high school student and was wearing a school uniform. It can't be the same one, right? Shen Jian was thoughtful. While thinking, the ghost vice principal had already inadvertently unbuttoned the fourth button. From Shen Jian's perspective, the waves were as vast as the abyss. Until the school bell rang. Shen Jian ended this torturous peak. Inside the office, the ghost vice principal lay lazily on the chair. Thinking of Shen Jian's performance all the way, and thinking of Shen Jian's handsome face, her heart was filled with strangeness. She stood up, peeked outside the door secretly, and locked the door. Then draw all the curtains. It's class time now, no one should notice. A pair of ghost hands, slowly. The other side. Shen Jian found the talent class based on the address. When he opened the door, more than 30 pairs of eyes stared directly at him, as if looking at a dead person. Human again. More than 30 fierce ghosts stared at Shen Jian greedily. Hey, what are you doing standing on the podium? Come down. At this time, Shen Jian heard whispers. Look away. In the first row of the front row, a girl who had already changed into her school uniform said in a low voice. It is one of the players who entered the copy this time. The ID is Dream Girl and the level is 22. The yin qi on his body is very strong, and he is at least a ghost master who controls Jigsaw, a Tsingyi level ghost. In addition to Mennu, there is another player in the classroom. It's Jinzi. He sat in the last row and was silent. The level is also the highest among all players. Seeing Shen Jian seeking death like this, he shook his head inwardly. Human players are already conspicuous in the supernatural dungeon, but Shen Jian also stood on the podium, attracting the attention of all the ghosts. This is no different from seeking death. As expected. A bad spirit is causing trouble. Who are you? Why are you in the position of a teacher? A gloomy voice sounded. Shen Jian looked over. The one who spoke was a boy, with an exaggerated grin reaching to his ears, staring at him with a sinister look on his face. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. Reach out and write your name on the blackboard. I'm the new head teacher. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the two players in the same class changed. Jinzi? Dream girl? What go ba? We are students, how come you become a teacher? Or the head teacher? Pi transaction. Not only the players, but also all the ghosts were stunned. This human being is their class teacher? How can this be? There has never been a precedent for a human being to become a class teacher. Have you done the transaction? Otherwise, how could Blood Moon High School hire a human as its class teacher? And their course teacher has not changed. Which subject is this human being? After the uproar, the grinning ghost who made the noise at the beginning spoke again. This time, his smile was even wider. Teacher, why did you come to class without bringing a lesson plan? This is against class rules. Following the words of this evil ghost, all the evil ghosts in the class stood up, their eyes stern, ready to move. If you violate school rules, all evil ghosts have the right to punish the violators. This is the rule of Blood Moon High School. And this human being violated the rules. The expressions of the two players changed drastically. Being besieged by so many fierce ghosts, I'm afraid even the red-clad level has to avoid the edge for a while. Shen Jian saw this. With a solemn look on his face, he slapped his hand on the podium. What are you doing? This is too much. When the teacher is talking, when did you have the right to interrupt? Look clearly, I am a physical education teacher. Where did the physical education teacher get the lesson plan? What do you want to do by standing up? Rebellion. The series of scoldings were deafening, making a group of fierce ghosts stunned. The most important thing is that Shen Jian's temperament when he speaks does not look like a human being at all, but like a teaching director, which makes people fear from the bottom of their hearts. And when everyone thinks about it, it seems that physical education teachers really don't need lesson plans. This would not be considered a violation of school rules. Instead, they stood up and contradicted the teacher, which was also a serious violation of class rules. So, they sat back in silence. Only. Shen Jian obviously didn't give up. He looked at the grinning ghost who made the first noise. You can talk so much, so you must be in good physical condition. Go ahead and run 20 laps on the playground. If you miss one lap, you should add 10 more laps.